Hello, Lillis. It is very nice to see you here in Latvia, and thank you for sharing your ideas. But let's talk about something a little bit different. We talk very much about how to be more creative and how to achieve more creativeness, but the question is, why should we be more creative? Why should we try to do more and more? Why?
I think the way you put it there, for me, it's different things. So I think a society needs to develop, and then we have the question, how? And as it is a community, everybody should contribute so we can house the society, but also the future. And why is this so important? Well, there are new needs, for example, our environment. Then we have to redefine our thinking from the 60s. I've been brought up with my grandparents in an era where they were young, around the 40s, and they actually shucked the garbage straight into the water, and they tied some stones around it and let it sink. Now this behavior cannot go on forward, so we need to just adjust to this, and then we need to have great minds to think, now how can we adjust? Or how can we do this? How can we solve this? For me, is creativity actually rather boring, because it's about problem solving. It's not about, I think that a lot of people think, you know, I'm being a bit creative, I'm being a bit crazy, and I come up with these things. For me, the uttermost refinement of creativity is the dialogue. And it's rare to find people today that are good leaders, that don't work in the company or in the organization, but work for it and allow other people to grow. And therefore, we get great minds together. And the ability to discuss is also tricky to find people that don't see it, like in Latin, conflictus. It's about different opinions. People see it as a conflict, like a war. And we talk about win-win or gain or loss. But in a way, we need to speak about it and also find people that are willing to share.
So do I understand you right, that you think there are not very much good thinkers and good leaders in the world?
No,
right
there
now?
are good thinkers, but leadership is another question. So how do you lead people? How do you go away from your own ego or perception and allow other people to join the party? Not to take responsibility over the whole thing, but let other people thrive. It's very stunning. John Carlson, he was the main director basically over air flight in Sweden. He got the company and it was going downhill, basically, rapidly downhill, it was downhill. And then he was then appointed because he allowed ideas to float, because in allowing that, you can see the future. And then, for example, the stewardess, they were sort of, he said, he just stepped on a ladder and said, we have a problem, we're going down, help me to go up, help me to go up. He released the responsibility and everybody could figure it out. So the stewardess were mumbling and dumbling, he writes in his book, about, you know, how should we want to do something on the air flight. And then they come up, we want to sell coffee and some snacks. So we do something, we're not just pretty things. And nobody thought much about it, because then you need to get the coffee there, you know, they need to get the coffee pots, etc. But that was actually a huge money revenue, suddenly. Because everybody wanted something to drink. Because it was boring to sit on the airplane, right? So you want something to eat and drink. And they got the satisfaction of doing something and being useful. And I think that way to say, you know, everybody come up with your ideas, because they're close to the ground, they see what works and not works. There's no way in hell and, you know, Excel calculation can create that. It's from humans being in the situation. And I think a lot of humans, you know, they sit there in their homes and they have really good ideas, but they don't know where to go. And sometimes you have ideas about something you don't know so much about, but you just look at it and think, you know, I would do it differently because I come from this area. I have this experience, and I will make this logistically better in this way. So all this thinking, and you need to have a person that leads the thinking to say everybody can be on board and is safe, because people together can be rather nasty.
Do every people is capable of thinking?
Yeah, I'm totally convinced about that. I think somehow some people will just say, you know, I just want a good life. But come to that, I think those people are very good at thinking about how this good life should look like, how you should live. They then turn very good at breathing exercises, gardening. So what's the hobby and what's the main occupation? I would say it's a blur today, but everybody is capable if it's been presented in a good way.
How do we know if that way is good or not?
You mean the thinking or presentation?
Thinking and presentation. How do we know that the way we have chosen, that is good?
You don't really. You need to try it out. You've chosen something, and that's why you have leaders who say, okay, this is what we do now. You have to make a decision. The thing is, if you have too much admin in an organization, these warning signs that comes up, the flares to say, no, we don't have any market anymore. You know, in the past you said, you don't sell any Christmas trees in the summer. Now that's invalid, because somebody came up with, no, we should sell Christmas trees in the summer. You pre-ordered the Christmas tree. So then you have a market that nobody thought of before. This is a classical saying from Philip Kotler. The marketing gurus say you don't sell Christmas in the summer. But no, yes, there is a market. Somebody came up with that idea. So we don't know, but if it's too stifled, you cannot react in a proper time. And that, I think, is the biggest problem.
Thank you for coming to Latvia and sharing your ideas, and it was nice to talk to you and nice to hear you here in Cēsis.
Thank you very much. A pleasure to be here.